Football's back.
All right, now let's head to the Southeastern Sports Medicine Wise Lines once again, and we catch up with Kevin Ewact. He is the blogger for the Washington Redskins, hogshaven.com. Keep the hogs, man. Those were great times.
Don't ever get rid of that character, yeah.
Kevin, welcome back to the Wise Guys, man.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, first things first, let's talk about your quarterback situation. Rex Grossman and John Beck, I think right there that tells you maybe there's some issues going on in Washington. Rex Grossman going as far to say the Redskins can win and will win the NFC East. Now, that's a bit far-fetched. I was joking. Drug test that guy. But what's your take on the quarterback scenario in Washington? Who do you think ends up number one?
You know, who cares about the national debt crisis when you have two quality quarterbacks like John Beck and Rex Grossman?
I'm smelling sarcasm.
You know
Continue.
That's what I remember from your last visit. You're spot on with your sarcasm. Of course,
well, you know, I mean, you can look at it both ways. If you're a Homer fan, look. Everyone thought Jake Plummer was done. You know, he had more interceptions than touchdowns in his career, and you know what? He goes to the AFC Championship game with Shanahan. Yeah, and so we have Rex Grossman entering. You know, really his third year in Kyle Shanahan's system. You know, he had two out of three good games at the end of the year. He's made a Super Bowl before. I mean, and you know, they looked really good in the first preseason game. There is some optimism there. John Beck, you know, he's been off and on in camp. Good days, bad days. Everyone's kind of laughing at that situation. But Shanahan's standing behind him pretty hard that he'll come out all right.
Donovan McNabb completely out of the picture now. Does that clear things up for these guys to actually compete for the job and without any distraction?
Absolutely. I mean, even when McNabb was benched, it was all these little things came up. Whether he didn't want to wear a wristband, he didn't want to do this, he was too slow, and he was still focal point. Same thing with Hainsworth. These guys were the focal points, even though they weren't the guys playing. So it's nice to have all this out. All we have in camp now are young guys competing for spots, and you know, it's just the way the team should be built.
We're joined on the Southeastern Sports Medicine Wise Lines by Kevin Ewact. He is an editor with hogshaven.com, blogs on the Washington Redskins. Go ahead, Seth.
All right, Kevin, thing I'm most curious about going into this season is the run game with the Redskins. I mean, of course, they drafted Roy Helu out of Nebraska. You've got Ryan Terrain there in the mix. How's it all going to shake out? I know that we've been dealing with some injuries early in the preseason, so you know maybe it's going to be a mix and match thing. Also, the big story has been Tim Hightower coming over from Arizona. How do you think this is going to play out? Is this going to be a committee, or is one guy going to rise above the rest?
I mean, Tim Hightower's pretty much risen. You know, he's really risen above everyone else. I mean, Ryan Train broke his hand, so he's going to be out at least another few weeks. And after his Hightower's appearance, week one, I mean, he was steamrolling guys. He was averaging over 4 yards a carry, and I mean, he looks like Steven Jackson out there, not just because of the dreads. He runs people over. He runs hard. He runs straight. And so that looked like a quality trade for us. As you said, you mentioned Roy Helu. We also drafted the all-time leading Penn State rusher, Evan Royster, who's he doesn't have great speed. He's not a great pass blocker. He does a lot of things well, but he doesn't excel in one. But he's an interesting player to possibly crack this roster because, you know, I mean, he can get yards.
You mentioned young guys competing for roster spots, and I think the knock on Washington for the last decade plus with Daniel Snyder's ownership was a lot of high-price guys coming in, not being good fits. But it seems like the Shanahans have at least convinced ownership to kind of like, let us build the team that we need and give us the time to do it. And we don't hear a lot from Daniel Snyder these days. Is that because their deal, Mike Shanahan's deal with him was that he runs the show?
Absolutely. Ever since Al Davis canned Shanahan in Oakland way back when, this was right before Pat Bowlen hired him in Denver, he said, I'm going to have in my contract that if I'm a head coach again, that I will have full control over personnel, no questions asked. And that's something he's adamant about, something that he does. And it just came out this week when Shanahan said, when I sat down with Dan Snyder, I said, look, no, I'm not going to take shortcuts. This could be a long process, but you know, give me 5 years. If you don't want to sit here and wait and don't want me to do it my way, then don't hire me. And you know, and Snyder was all about it. He goes, let's do it. He's had a man crush on Shanahan ever since he became owner in the NFL. So he's as happy as can be.
Hey, well, that debt crisis talk really has you ramped up.
Shanahan isn't it? Go ahead.
Like when you see a 13-year-old girl react to Justin Bieber, that's pretty much how I envision Dan Snyder when he found out that Shanahan that he got the hire.
Oh, okay.
Well, Shanahan is an attractive man. Kevin Ewact joining us. Blogs on the Washington Redskins. Hogshaven.com is the website. It's a dandy. Quickly, before we let you fly here, Kevin, I got to ask the folks in Washington, in the area, let's say Virginia and D.C., who are they finding more fault with these days? Who are they more annoyed with, the politicians or the Redskins?
I mean, has anyone ever had faith in politicians? Yeah.
Not lately.
Everything's been so screwed up lately. At least the Redskins have hope. When we bring in a new free agent, at least there's hope.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much hope in this government. It's just, it's all on the Redskins. No one in DC cares about the government. It's the same thing every day.
You know what, too? And at least the Redskins have won 3 Super Bowls, so that's a good thing. Right. Hey, Kevin, great to catch up. If any breaking news happens out of D.C., we'd love to get back up with you, man.
Yeah, with the Redskins, not with the politicians.
Yeah, call me anytime.
You got it, man. Appreciate you.
Thank
good work.
You, buddy.
Kevin Ewact joining us there, blogger on the Washington Redskins, Hogshaven.com.
That's what I remember about him last time.
That was a gimme question right there.
I know, but it was lovely. I mean, you almost knocked his feet out from under him. It's kind of like, wow. But by the same token, you got another chance to jab the politicians.